What makes an engineering student go into stand-up comedy? That is a question I asked Phil Wang. Now, he is a British-born Chinese comedian, and he's been making a name for himself on the UK circuit and is about to start his own solo show, even, at the Soho Theatre in London. And earlier this week, I caught up with him. Let's have a quick look at him in action.
In Western cinema, you know, in Hollywood and stuff, there's hardly ever like a Chinese character in a film. And whenever there is, they're either like impossibly wise or offensively stupid. Like, there's no halfway house. It's either, oh, before you can begin your search for truth, you must first discover the mysteries within yourself. Or it's, hey, you didn't pay for that watermelon, hey, come back home.
So, Phil, what made you go from being an engineering graduate from Cambridge into doing stand-up?
I had an engineering job, and I thought, this is too early to get up. And I quite like telling jokes, and I did that a lot at university, and eventually they took over from the degree, so I just finished the degree but kept doing the stand-up. I
mean, I like jokes, but
sure.
I wouldn't go into stand-up.
Well, I like the news, but I wouldn't read it.
OK.
Yeah, I think you just gravitate towards what scares you the least. And getting up in front of strangers, I find much less scary than getting up at 8 a.m. Or 7 a.m. I don't know.
It was actually 3:30 this morning.
Yeah, well, exactly. There you go. Aren't you jealous of me right now? I'm normally getting up in an hour.
Okay.
And that's a good day. Now,
Cambridge has, for many years, turned out some quite outstanding British talent. So if we look at the Footlights group, just to name a few names, Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie, John Cleese, Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson was Oxford.
Oh, was he? OK, yeah. I stand corrected. Was there any pressure, or is there any pressure, to do well coming from, you know, from Cambridge and knowing that so many famous people have done so well?
Yes, there's a certain level of expectation. But at the same time, sometimes people go, oh, you're at Cambridge, are you? Well, I guess you don't need our help. So it kind of cancels itself out in a way. It's not how it used to be. I think in sort of Stephen Fry's day, it was almost this instant ticket into British culture. But it's not really the case anymore. Comedy is quite saturated. There's a lot going on. Lots of great people coming from very different parts of the country, from different universities, from different walks of life now. Yes, there's definitely much more of a mix now, so I don't think there is that kind of expectation anymore. Comedy
and alcohol tend to go hand in hand in this country. By that I mean that generally gigs are either in the pubs, or they're in places where people kind of relax a little bit. Do you think that helps people when it comes to watching stand-up? Yeah, it just helps. I think it helps people let go. Especially in Britain, you know, alcohol is a very important social lubricant. The best comedy gigs are basically when people forget that they're in a room with other people. So it needs to be dark. People need to be scrunched up together and unaware, really, of each other's presence. And being drunk helps. It helps you just let go and go along with it, yeah. And what about in terms of hecklers? Because, you know, you're always going to get that on the comedy circuit. Do you have, like, a few one-liners up your sleeve that you're ready to kind of throw out that are generic, or are you quite good at ad-libbing? I tend to play it just as it comes. Heckling isn't that bad, really. People are quite polite on the whole. You'd be surprised. But a lot of the time, if someone just shouts something out, you just listen to them, repeat it back to them, and just follow their chain of logic until it eventually leads somewhere inevitably ridiculous. Because people are, you'd be surprised, but people have rarely thought through their heckles. Now, you've got Chinese heritage. I think it's Dad who's Chinese, isn't it? Yeah, Malaysian Chinese, yeah. Malaysian Chinese, OK. And has that been a source of inspiration for material? Sure, yeah. I mean, you talk about what you know. You talk about your family. I find my dad quite funny sometimes. And those disparages between British and East Asian culture I find interesting, and I like talking about it and trying to see where the funny is there. So your show opens at the Soho Theatre. What's it about? It's nominally about me trying to figure out what kind of comedian I want to be. You know, am I sort of a race humor comic? Am I like a youthful comic? Am I a cool comic? And I just go through trying each style out. And hopefully, towards the end, I come to realize what kind of comic I am.
Are you able to tell us?
No, that would ruin the surprise.
Okay. And who is your sort of inspiration? Who do you think does a really good job of always bringing laughter or raising the roof?
It tends to change. People go in and out of vogue. At the moment, people like Louis C.K. in the States are a big influence on me. I think he's really great. Or Bill Burr, Patrice O'Neill, I thought was fantastic.
So you like sort of a human observation type comics?
Yeah. I think I find the best comedy is a comedy that's sort of stripped to the ugliest and most beautiful aspects of human nature. Just the rawest, most naked observations. I find those the most entertaining and interesting to listen to.
The Edinburgh Fringe runs obviously annually. A big event for new comics coming onto the scene. How important was it for you to be sort of recognised, I suppose, when you played at Edinburgh?
Yeah, it was important. It's a bit of a cattle market sometimes, because all the comics in the country and around the world go there, and you sort of vie and scratch tooth and nail to try and get your name out there and get noticed. And it's a festival. It's an arts festival, but it's also this sort of industry meeting, and it is important to stick out. Yeah.
Stand out.
Stand out. Sorry, as I say, it's early for me.
That's fine. You're a comic. I'm a newsreader.
Yeah.
Final question to you. I'm sure this always happens with comedians. What's your best joke? That's clean, please.
Oh, that's clean. I have a friend with a big slab of concrete sticking out of his chest. What a ledge.
And on that note, Phil Wang, thank you very much for coming in.
Sure, thanks.